All right, if I can have everyone's attention, we'll get started with our afternoon availability. We'll kick it off with Carl Edwards, driver of the number 99 Geek Squad Ford Fusion, currently 12th in points. Carl, talk a little bit about coming into Michigan this weekend.
Well, we are coming into Michigan with our guns blazing. We've got a very fast race car. We've been working very hard on it. Chad and all the guys have pulled out all the stops. We had a very good practice, and I'm excited about racing. I brought Lance Bashy up here with me. He is my personal Geek Squad double agent for the weekend. I could lend him to you guys if you need him. I don't know if you guys have any trouble with your your laptops or your phones or any connectivity issues, but he can take care of it. He's been around the hauler and the motorhome and just taking care of everything. So we're having a lot of fun with it. Ryan Friedlinghaus from West Coast Customs, he designed the race car, so that's been a neat project. And just for Best Buy, for Geek Squad, for everybody, we're having a little bit of fun, and we're hoping that we can get that win that we need. We don't feel like there's a better racetrack on the circuit to come to when we need a win. We've had a lot of success here at Michigan. I got a call from Jim Farley this morning from Ford. Everybody is pumped about our prospects this weekend, and I just hope that I can pull through and do my job and get the result that we want this weekend.
Before we open it up for questions, switching gears just a little bit, would like to get a comment from you. Announced earlier today for the fourth consecutive year, NASCAR After the Lap in Las Vegas on November 29th, sponsored by Ford, fan event. You were lucky enough to be part of that last year. Just talk a little bit about that fan event out there and what it was like last year.
I didn't realize how lucky I was last year until right now. I'm on the outside looking in, so I'm hoping that I don't have to go to NASCARAfterthelap.com to get tickets. I hope that I'm invited on behalf of NASCAR for my spot in the chase. But you guys, I'm sure some of you have been to that event. I don't know if that's on television. Is that live on TV? Or because it seems a little bit R-rated, and it's a lot of fun. So I think everyone at Ford's excited about it. I know the fans are excited. And yesterday we were at the Detroit F-150 factory where they build almost all of the F-150s. We got a tour. It was spectacular, and they showed us the FX4 F-150 that they're going to give away to one fan at that event. I think last year they gave away, what did they give away last year? They gave either an Explorer or an F-150 or a Fusion or something, but Ford has been a huge part of that After the Lap event. It's a lot of fun. I think last year Jeff Gordon was breakdancing, so who knows what will happen this year. And yeah, that Ford plant was unreal. It was really cool to get to see that and to be a part of that.
All right, we'll open it up for questions. For Carl, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start right here in the middle with Wolfgang, then go to David.
From Germany, Carl, hi.
Hey.
Just a question concerning the last race. There was a lot of confusion informations back in Germany concerning what happened in Watkins Glen. We heard that the track was covered very much with oil. Can you give me some background information about that?
I heard the same thing, and it wasn't that bad when I drove through it. We were, I think, 14th or something, so there were a bunch of cars in front of us that ran through that oil, but it was still a little bit slick. I went back after we got home. I was telling Claire about this on the radio the other day. I went home and I thought, well, everybody said that was a pretty neat last lap. I went to NASCAR.com and I watched it, and I'm screaming at my wife. I'm like, come in here and look at this. This is almost this is unbelievable. And so I watched the thing so many times. I've got that. I don't want to offend anybody. We've got that silly ad that's before the video, stuck in my head. So I watched it about 10 times, and I think that as frustrating as it was for some drivers to not have the caution thrown, I think it was. It was very, very entertaining. I really enjoyed watching it, and that's a rarity for me. I don't usually go home and watch videos of the race I was just in, 10 times in a row. That was a very exciting race, and I think in the end for the sport, I think NASCAR did a good job of letting everybody kind of figure it out on their own. I don't know if they'll always do that. I don't know all the things that led up to that decision or lack of a decision to throw a caution, but I think it worked out in favor of good entertainment that day.
All right, we'll take our next question right here from David.
Thanks. David Carville, NASCAR.com. Carl, why do you think Roush lost its edge here after so many wins at this place? And does the resurfacing put everybody back on a playing field to where maybe you guys could get back to that?
I think there's so much happening in the sport right now. Technically, people trying to get these cars, the position the way they want and the splitters just right. And I think that once you repave it like we have, and it's been repaved, it's very smooth. It's a very uniform surface that now people are making leaps and bounds technically with their cars and getting them faster and faster. And before, it seemed like, when the track was rough and worn out, guys who could hang the cars out a little bit like Greg Biffle, and guys who had big horsepower at the top end of their RPM curve like us, that they ran really well. Lance, you think you can figure out how to turn my ringer off? Hey, that's the Turtle Man, you guys. Oh, it might be. Hello? Hey, let me call you back. Is that all right? All right. That's Turtle Man's manager. Probably not as entertaining to put on the microphone as Turtle Man, but what's that? Yeah. Are you offended that my phone rang? I don't get offended when you guys ask tough questions.
Well, we're not going to stop.
And then let me follow. Let me
Man.
follow that up then. We haven't seen a season sweep here in like 17, 18 years. And you see season sweeps at Bristol and Dover and places where you think there wouldn't be, and yet here nobody's been able to do it in almost 2 decades. Does that go back to what you were talking about earlier about how it can be tough to sort of maintain here?
I don't know. I think that this racetrack takes these big tracks like this take a perfect engine, a perfect body, perfect driving, good strategy. There's so many things that happen at these big racetracks. I just think it's hard to, even if you have the really fast car, it seems hard to just dominate here and repeatedly win. Somehow Jack and those guys have done a really good job over the years, all the drivers at Roush. But I don't know. That's a really good question.
Okay, we'll take our next question over here to the right with Mike. Mike Rashford. We'll get
At MikeHembrySpeed.com. 2 things, Carl. If you're in the top 5 here Sunday with 3 or 4 laps to go, what can you do beyond the norm to win the race? Or can you do something else? Will you try something different?
I think with the groove being as narrow as it is, I don't know if the groove will be like that by the time we have the last restart, but if the groove is really narrow, there may be opportunities to go outside the box a little bit with your line, be aggressive on the restarts, and maybe you won't be in the preferred groove, but you could make something happen by, if you watch some of these restarts at this place when those last green, white, checkered restarts, guys sometimes will get a run. It'll be 3 or 4 or 5 wide into that first corner, and I think you'll see a lot of that. I think that those are the things that we're willing to risk a little bit more on right now than we have in the past.